Recently, the video game world was rocked by the announcement that upcoming RPG Baldur's Gate 3 would allow you to get busy with a grizzly thanks to its advanced romance options.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, however, this beastly bout of boning is not the only unbelievable love story that you can experience through the magical medium of video games.
I'm Ian Higton.
And I'm Aoife Wilson, and in our continuing efforts to stray further and further away from God's light, in this video we'll be telling you all about 9 bizarre things that you can bone in video games.
I want to go on a date. A first date. No weapons, no monsters, no mysterious voices. Just you and me and dinner.
When someone says they've hooked up with a bear, normally they don't mean the kind that lives in the woods. But as I mentioned in the intro to this video, in Baldur's Gate 3, it is indeed possible to bone a bear.
Oh, I'm so excited!
During a live showcase called The Panel from Hell, a couple of developers from Larian Studios decided to demonstrate just how versatile their game's romantic dialogue options are. And they did this by playing through a scene in which the player character, Astarion, hooks up with a druid called Halsin. Things start off innocently enough, albeit with a lot of bare skin on show, before suddenly Halsin gets a little too, excited. This causes Halsin to transform himself into an actual bear, before transforming back again and apologising profusely. In what may have been a huge error on their part, the developers on stream then allowed the baying studio audience to pick the romance options. And of course, things went downhill fast.
Look, I mean, at this point, it's not our responsibility anymore.
Yeah, no, you did this.
We have given every single opportunity.
By pandering to the audience's wants and needs, it's not long before Halsin is back in bear form, and much to the delight of the onlooking crowd, he then pushes Astarion to the floor and, with a sly smile on his face, begins to bear down on him. Thankfully, the camera cuts away to a shocked squirrel just before we see anything too disturbing. But that poor little critter can barely believe its eyes, and after a second or two, it drops its nut all over the floor. Wow, what a waste of a perfectly good acorn. That silly little nutkins there should have kept that nut safe in, I don't know, some kind of sack or something?
Now, if you thought that boning a bear was weird, allow me to bring My Horse Prince to the stable. This visual novel game for mobile features a young lady looking for love who decides to try and bang this thing. Yes, that's right. In My Horse Prince, your goal is to romance a human-faced horse and become the centaur of his attention. And you can do this in multiple ways. Obviously, there's the standard visual novel choices to be made, but there are also times when you'll be saddled with training him to... Good God, these puns. During these moments, you need to tap the phone screen in order to feed him carrots and make him run on tiny little treadmills, which will cause the screen to explode in little pink hearts. Our lovely horse isn't just a handsome foal, though. He's also a rock star, a champion skier, and a talented chef. And somehow he manages to do all of this with hooves for hands. Like, honestly, I literally cannot begin to fathom how on earth he'd ever get those chopsticks to balance like that, let alone how he'd even use them. Unfortunately though, going by this screenshot, our main man is also a smoker. I really don't fancy kissing an ashtray, so for that reason, it's gonna be a nay from me when it comes to romance, I'm afraid.
Sure, a half-horse, half-man is an odd romantic choice, but just you wait until you get an eyeful, or should that be a mouthful, of the bacon lettuce biographies. This Japanese language visual novel casts you as a schoolboy who imagines all of his romantic interests as succulent chunks of meat. And that's fresh meat too. It's not even cooked. But what you gonna do about it? Complain to the chef? Nope, you're going to try to date it instead. Each literal hunk of meat that you see on screen is based on your traditional dating game characters. So, for instance, there's Beef, who is the popular kid, and there's also Tuna, who is your childhood best friend. Weirdly, considering the game's title, there seems to be burger or lettuce in here, so if you're a vegetarian, you'll probably think this game is a load of baloney. It only took me about 20 minutes of playtime to reach the game's bad ending, which for some reason features alien greys, so it's safe to say that the Bacon Lettuce Biographies is hardly a high-stakes romance game. Considering it's a free download though, you'll certainly get your money's worth if you want to try to fulfill your own fleshy fantasies. Well, this certainly does give a brand new meaning to the phrase, beating your meat.
So, do you own a laptop or a desktop?
Whilst legendarily wacky Dreamcast game Semen doesn't actually let you play as one of the titular virtual pets, fans of bizarre boning should be very glad to hear that you're still able to watch these fishy freak shows getting it on, and, well, that's certainly a thing that happens, alright.
I think I'd like to make a baby.
After announcing its romantic intentions, a male seaman will float on over to a female seaman, and then, after mounting it, the pair will touch tentacles while the male seaman says disturbing things like,
"Oh, that feels good."
ugh. Anyway, once the foreplay is out of the way, the head-mounted tentacles will pump a wave rhythmically for a good 50 seconds or so. I can't believe I actually have to say these words, before finally, the male seaman disconnects its tentacle and then slowly dies. Kind of how I'm dying of embarrassment right now. To be fair though, there are worse ways to go. R.I.P. little seaman, the seaman.
I have something for you.
Really? Well, I think I've got something for you too. Come on, I'll go first.
While the rest of the bizarre entries on this list are rather obscure, the romancing of Iron Bull in Dragon Age Inquisition is probably one of the most well-known bones in the world of video games. When footage of this pre-coital cutscene first appeared on the internet, it quickly went viral due to the absurdity of the situation and the hilarious reactions of the embarrassed characters who accidentally burst in on you both.
I'm so sorry.
I cannot move my legs.
Is something the matter? Ah!
The thing that makes this beef so bizarre, though, is that while the metal-skinned Iron Bull may be a humanoid shape, he is still an utterly different species, and as such, he sports an impressive set of horns on his head that go pretty well with the insatiable horn in his pants.
Actually, he's the one who's been taking it.
In my opinion, however, the best thing about this moving cutscene has to be the weirdly placed painting that looks at you both disapprovingly from the side of the bed. It may just be oil on canvas, but those are some of the judgiest side eyes that I ever did see. Honestly, if someone looked at me like that, I wouldn't hesitate to kick 'em square in the bullocks.
Kokoro is your average everyday schoolgirl in all but one respect because, as you can see here, Kokoro is actually a half-human, half-grasshopper hybrid. But listen, before you chirp up about her rather unique looks, just remember that true beauty isn't found on the outside. Exoskeletons are. There are no gratuitous insect scenes, god damn it Ian, in this visual novel game, but if you do successfully woo your bright green boo, you will be rewarded with the chance to give her a great big kiss, which results in this nightmare-inducing image. If you fancy giving creature romances, Kokoro a go for yourself, you can grab it from Steam right now for the lowest, oh for god's sake, price of only £2.49. Don't try to pirate it though. Stealing video games is just not cricket. Anything? Anyone? No?
If you're looking for the bizarrest of bizarre things to bone, look no further than Unko Danshi Doki Doki Sharehouse here, because in this visual novel game, your goal is to get down and dirty with, well, poop. So okay, it's anthropomorphized poop, but it's poop nonetheless, because Unko Danshi literally translates to poop boys. And playing as Nadeshiko, a pink-haired high school student, it's up to you to choose which of these 5 types of poo-poo that you want to do. As you can see from this trailer footage, you can romance normal poo, hard poo, swirly poo, diarrhea poo, and barium poo, which I had to Google, but it seems to be a type of white poop that you can only get after doing something called a barium swallow as part of a hospital procedure. Okay, so before you go looking for Unko Dansho for yourselves, I really should own up and tell you that this isn't a real visual novel at all. What you're watching here is actually a parody of a video game trailer, and it can only be found on the Blu-ray and DVD releases of the late night The Genius Bakabon anime. Sorry for pulling your leg there, but I just couldn't resist squeezing out a little info nugget about this title. Word of warning though, if you do want to grab a copy of Late Night The Genius Bakabon on Blu-ray for yourselves, they are currently on sale online for around about $130. Well, that's one to buy only if you're feeling flush, I guess.
Geralt of Rivia is well known for his ability to get busy with pretty much anyone and anything. But did you know that in The Witcher 1, you can also get him to hook up with a tree? Okay, so to be fair, she's actually a dryad called Morin. But in essence, this nature spirit is basically a sexy tree. Morin can be found in the Druid's Grove and, once spoken to, she doesn't beat around the bush and quickly promises to teach good old sexy Geralt all about the Dryad's mating rituals. So long as he can prove his physical prowess by bringing her a wolf pelt first, that is. Once Geralt returns with the goods, the silver-haired hunter wastes no time and uses his silver tongue to seduce the Dryad and, as the screen fades to black, he gives her a damn good, oh my god, rooting. Oh, jeez. And earns himself this lovely collectible romance card. Ian, I am never reading one of your scripts ever again. I guess her bark was worse than her bite. Ian, I swear to god, these puns...
And finally, what could be more bizarre than banging something that kills you? Meet Mass Effect's Morinth, an unfortunate Asari who suffers from a rare genetic disorder that causes her to kill her mates while joining minds with them.
I want to give you that, Shepard. I want you to feel every nerve in your body pulsing with pleasure.
If you choose to do the no pants dance with Morinth, she'll warn you that her previous partner died from an overdose of ecstasy. But with the Prothean cipher in Shepard's head, she figures that you'll be able to handle it.
Embrace eternity.
Unfortunately for you, however, Shepard's Le Petit Mort turns out to be more of a Le Grand Mort, as within seconds of getting it on, they die by orgasm. Well, well, well. Talk about a happy ending.
And that, my filth-loving friends, is that. Now, I'm sure, like us, this list has left you with many, many questions.
Although my main one is, what in the fresh hell is wrong with the people who make visual novels?
If you enjoyed this video, then why not check out some other weird stuff that video games have to offer by clicking on one of the videos on screen now.
And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Eurogamer for almost daily videos about video games. Right, I'm off to go find a poop to date.
Yeah, in a video game though, right Ian? Right Ian? Oh my god.